In my opinion, being a defensive player of the year in the Big Ten is remarkable.
I had torn my rotator cuff. I was averaging 3.5 blocks a game this season, which is,
If I remember right, is 114 blocks.
114 blocks, and it was the game against Penn State at home. I had 11, which at that time tied the record for most blocks in a game, and it basically was the one that catapulted me into like breaking the season record.
So Big Ten, you moved up. You're playing for the Gophers.
Yep.
2017. Obviously was one hell of a ride because you were defensive player of the year.
Yeah. No.
What, I don't even know how, what would even be running through my mind getting that award, but when did you realize this award's mine? Because in my opinion, being a defensive player of the year in the Big Ten is remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy thing.
And let me tell you what makes it even more crazy. I had torn my rotator cuff in the year I sat out.
Oh, wow.
Start of the, we're talking 1 week, 2 weeks before the season starts. I'm getting thrown an alley-oop, and I grab the rubber on the side of the backboard, and it goes back too far. Tear my rotator cuff, and I'm out 6 months with that. Wow, the year that I was supposed to be improving my game, the year I sit out. But I was able to do a lower body, so I strengthened my lower body. And by the time I'm able to play the next season, my rotator cuff had healed. But, we're talking November, December, January, February, March, April, May. I'm not able to really dunk, shoot crazy,
right.
All that. And so, and obviously block shots.
Right.
Blocking shots with my right arm, which is luckily my left arm, I can block shots. Like I told you, I was good at that my whole life, but this is my go-to,
right?
The right hand. But my junior year, first year playing, we're crushing it. We're winning games. We were 6-24 the year before. We ended up being 27-7 the year I played, which is actually, I don't know if it still is, but it was at the time the biggest year-to-year improvement in history of college.
Oh, wow.
History of college basketball. There was no better improvement of a team from 1 year to the next than our year. But it wasn't just me. It was obviously all the boys I mentioned. But I was averaging 3.5 blocks a game this season, which is...
If I remember right, is 114 blocks.
114 blocks. And it was the game against Penn State at home. I had 11, which at that time tied the record for most blocks in a game. And it basically was the one that catapulted me into... breaking the season record.
Correct.
When that happened, and our team's doing well, and Coach Pitino's getting nominations for Coach of the Year. Nate's getting all conference. Jordan's getting all conference. Amir's getting all freshman. It's like I'm gonna get some nominations. Maybe not all conference, but for sure something defensively.
Right.
And the only other person I could see myself losing to at that point was Ethan Happ, who was a killer player for Wisconsin, also a center, but he was a stealer. He would steal the ball and he would get a couple blocks, but he was like a guy who would steal the ball from you. But there was no other guy in the Big Ten who was blocking shit like me.
Right.
And we're talking not even close. I was 3.5, the next guy was 1 point something.
Right.
So after the season was over, well, first of all, we ended up beating Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament, which was amazing because we lost to them. Those were we didn't have that many losses for the regular season, but we did lose to Michigan State twice in the regular season. We beat them. I got my tooth chipped in that game. I ended up having 20 points in that game. It was an amazing game for me, and we ended up getting our revenge. But we did end up losing to Michigan. We beat Michigan State. We lost to Michigan in the Big Ten tournament. So that was we were done. But then it was that 1 week waiting for our seeding for NCAA tournament seeding. And we ended up getting 5th. But that 1 week waiting for it was the Big Ten honors.
Yep.
We were all gathered in the locker room watching who would win what, who would get nominated for what. And I saw that Coach Pitino got nominated for Coach of the Year. No, Coach Pitino won Coach of the Year.
Yes.
Nate Mason gets all conference honors. Jordan Murphy gets all conference honors. Amir Coffey gets all freshman team. And then I'm like, who's going to get the all defensive and who's going to win defensive player of the year. And when they showed me on the screen, I was like, yes.
Did you black out?
I literally, because this is the thing, I didn't even win defensive player of the year in Illinois State, which is a easier conference.
Right.
So to go from all defensive team my freshman year at Illinois State, all defensive team my sophomore year at Illinois State, then to win the award, not be on the all defensive team in the Big Ten, but to win it, was like, I am good at.
And you won that at the Big Ten level.
Yeah, at the Big Ten level.
Right.
This is like winning. Like there has been no. I believe I got to make sure this is true, but I believe there is no Gopher who has won the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year.
I don't think there has been either.
There's been a lot of Michigan guys, a lot of Michigan State guys, a lot of Purdue guys because they got a lot of big guys on their team that go to the NBA. Yada. But I don't believe there's ever been a Gopher before or since who's won the Defensive Player of the Year.
Because you had 114 blocks that year, and that was
that beat Michael Thompson, the father of Klay Thompson's dad, for most blocks.
Yeah.
And when I beat that, I was like, this has got to be.
Right. It's got, it's destined.
It's got to mean something.
Right. It's got to be destined for sure.
Yeah.
So 2017, you win that.
Yep.
You guys played well.
Yeah.
Let's be real. You didn't win what you wanted to, but you guys still played well.
Yeah. Made the tournament. We won 7 games the year before, and then we made the tournament the next year.
Right.
We're talking a major jump. And then just like my Illinois State years, we were only going to get better because we weren't going to lose that many guys.
Yep.
My senior year, I was averaging 4.5 blocks a game, 3.5 the year before. But now I'm scoring more, I'm rebounding more, and I'm averaging a block per game more for the first 12 games of the year. But I decided to leave the school for my pursuit of becoming a professional basketball player.
Yep.
I would have liked to stay at the Gophers, but ultimately the dream was there to make it to professional basketball, and I decided to end my time there. And I started training out in Las Vegas, started training out in New York, started training in Miami, and I hired an agent, and I became a professional basketball player 6 months after I left the Gophers. And
so let's go back to hiring an agent.
Yeah.
A lot of us normal folks don't know what that means, what entails.
Yeah.
You left the Gophers, you want to be an NBA ball player. Totally understood. You're traveling to numerous camps to train, to get your name out there, to get filmed, because that's a big thing, right?
Yes.
It's getting filmed.
Yep.
What deters you to say, all right, I need an agent? What makes you say, I want this guy to be my agent?
Yeah.
How do you define that? Like, where does that come from?
Yeah. So just as similarly, where I'm like unfamiliar with, like, I'm going from senior year of high school to freshman year of college. It's like I'm entering a new world. Right. Leaving college to enter the professional world is another world that is even more of a change. Yeah. Trust me. So luckily I did get hit up by agents. Like at this time, and I believe still now, you are not really you're not allowed to hire an agent when you're in college, because then you void your eligibility as a player. But there were people that were reaching out to me, so it's not like I had to like go and blindly find someone. Okay. Like there were people to choose from, but I didn't want to pick anyone until after I had done the proper professional training. And one of the main things that I had heard about people doing who were going from either, freshmen who are declaring for the draft or like seniors who automatically have to declare because there's no other option. Right. Is going to train out at this place called Impact in Las Vegas, which is head by Joe Abunazar, who's a famous trainer out there. So I ended up going to Las Vegas for 2 months, working out every day, getting a house to stay in for my time. This is something that I had to put up funds for myself. Yeah, I was going to ask you, how does that work? You pay, you got to pay $1,000 as an investment in yourself. Right. That gets you the opportunity to train with the best players that are coming out of college. And you guys are all fighting for spots to get on teams overseas or in the NBA. And at this point, like, I definitely am thinking like I could play in the NBA, but I didn't end up getting much NBA looks, but I did get a lot of looks from overseas. So I'm training in Las Vegas for 2 months. I go to New York to train at the NBA Players Association down in Manhattan. I trained out there with Plumlee, not Miles Plumlee, the other one, the older one.
Yep.
Mason. Yeah, it's Miles Plumlee. It's not Mason. Mason's the one who's currently playing. So I trained with him, went down to Miami and played against Andre Drummond and Hassan Whiteside in the Miami Pro-Am. So I got a lot of experience playing against pros. And when I went back to Miami, or when I went back to Las Vegas, when I met the agent who I've stuck with ever since. And his name is Jack Zack Schreiber, and his overseas contact is Reed Noppinen, and they belong to Intersport, and they basically took me out to dinner down in the Cosmopolitan, said to me, hey, like we really love your game. We got teams that will really like propel you as a overseas player. And we, they basically just spelled it out, similar to how my assistant coach at Illinois State, Torrey Ward, spelled it all out for me. I think that's how you win me over. Is like you talk to me in a way where I understand the vision,
right?
Spell out how everything's gonna look, and I like you as a person. I'm gonna rock with you. So ended up signing to them. And my first team that I ended up signing to was a team in Estonia called Kalev Cramo, which is in Tallinn, which is the city that at the time when I decided to sign there, I was like, where the hell am I about to go? What is this? What is Estonia? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, is this really what I've done all this work for in my life to go play in Estonia?
Right.
It was an absolute culture shock. So I go from New York City, Miami, Las Vegas to Estonia 1 week later.
But you made noise out there. 2019.
I made noise, and it just so happened that I had former NBA players on my team who easily showed me the ropes of what it is to be a professional player. Because when you're a college player going overseas, you still think everything's college.
Right.
I was asking, when I got there, hey, like, so are we going to get our laundry washed? Are we going to get wake up calls for being at practice? And they were like, there ain't no wake up call, brother. You don't show up to practice. That's a €500 euro fine.
Oh, wow. So you're on your own.
And it's just like, wait, what do you mean we don't get a wake up call, bro? I got wake up calls the last 4 years of my life. No,
I got to set an alarm. This sucks.
I'm telling you. So and these are like little things that you would think it's like, no duh. It's like anyone who works in the real world, it's like, no duh, you don't get a wake up call to go to work. Bro.
Right.
But it's like when you're a college player and you're like getting the, like everyone loves you, everyone adores you, everyone knows who you are, everyone wants to help you.
Right.
So all of a sudden be like, nah, like you get fined if you do anything wrong.
Wow.
And you're in Estonia in a freezing cold. There's not that very much sun. The culture shock was crazy.
Yeah.
But I had guys on my team that were older who had been playing professionally for many years, come from many walks of life, and got some guys who played in the NBA, some who've only been overseas for their whole careers. They were able to help coach me and like teach me the ways and like professionalism, as well as I had my first coach as a professional was a Lithuanian guy.
Oh, wow.
And if you know anything about Lithuanians, they love their basketball, but they're also some hard-nosed, intense dudes that are like Eastern European, like Soviet type bros.
Yeah.
And I got my ass yelled at more than I ever have by this guy. So I learned quick.
And you were still doing things right.
Yeah, exactly. And I wasn't even late to practice, and I was getting yelled at. And so
that's awesome.
So I learned quick how to become a professional. So honestly, shout out to my choice to go to Kalev Cramo in Estonia. We ended up being an amazing team. Like you said, we ended up winning the Estonian championship. Tallinn is an amazing city, but at the time I did not appreciate it the way that I would now. I thought that I was going to like the trenches,
right?
But when you look up Tallinn, it's actually a pretty beautiful city. And so like now I would go play there now, even though when I was there, I was like, oh, get me out of here. You know what I'm saying?
So you moved from there. Now, when you sign those contracts, is that just like usually a 1 year deal, or is that something that they do multiple years, or do you have to earn your keep, I guess?
Yeah, basically it is earn your keep. I mean, it's just like you sign these 1 year deals. Sometimes you only sign like a tryout, if they don't like, luckily I played in the Big Ten and I was a well accoladed dude.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you could trust me to sign me for a year.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you played at like some lower D1, but you were a star there, it's like, yeah, maybe he was playing against weak competition. That's why he was good. So you sign him on like a temporary thing.
Yep.
Or if you're a guy who played at Duke,
yeah,
and he didn't get those NBA looks, maybe you sign him to like Barcelona for 3 years because you know he's good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, for me, it's like I was in the middle. It's like, you know, you can count on me for a year, but I'm not Cooper Flagg, or I'm not Jabari Parker.
You're still making a name.
Yeah, I'm still making a name like I've been doing my whole life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I just keep doing it at higher levels.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So now I have to make the name in I made it in college, I made it in high school, I made it in middle school. Now I have to make it professionally.
Right.
So I'm coming,
which is going to be even that much harder.
Yeah, even harder.
It's a fucking ladder, right?
Exactly.
And you're starting at the bottom.
Exactly. So now I'm in Estonia playing behind 2 centers who are former pros, but they're like on their last leg of their like professional career, but they're still like way more experienced than me.
Yeah.
I had to beat them out, and if I want to be good. And by midway through the season, the coach who had been screaming at me all year ended up loving me and actually played me more than the other guys.
They say that though, right?
Yep.
If they scream at you, they like you.
Exactly. So by the end of the season, we ended up taking Kolob Kramo, which at the time, before the Russia and Ukraine war, Estonia used to be a part of the Russian league. Now they've seceded from the league because they don't want to be affiliated with Russia. But Estonia used to be in the Russian league, which is called the VTB League. The VTB League has like 7-8 Russian teams. Estonia, a Poland team, an Estonia team, a Latvia team, and a Belarus team, and a Kazakhstan team. So they all would. So we were the only team in Estonia that was in the Russian league. Other teams in Estonia just played in Estonia.
Okay.
But since we were the best team in Estonia, we got to play in the Russian league.
Okay.
We ended up being in the playoffs for the first time in Kolob Kramo's history for the Russian league. So
wow.
So once again, like me playing on this team, I'm helping propel the team to new heights and making a name. And I was the best shot blocker as a freshman, or as a rookie.
Right.
Now I'm a rookie.
Yeah.
We don't call you freshman when you're professional.
No, you got to do your own laundry and shit.
So yeah, exactly. So now I'm a rookie, and I was the best shot blocker in the entire Russian league.
Wow.
So I had successfully made a name. I ended up winning a championship in the Estonian league. And then I came back home and said to my family, I did it, but that was the longest 10 months of my life, because I was there from August until beginning of June.
So does the family come on visit, or is that something that's not looked upon?
The families can come out and visit, but once again, it's like you're paying for your own ticket. And does I'd honestly shout out to FaceTime, because my uncle, he played professionally in the NBA, and then he ended up playing in Germany and Spain for a few years. But back when he played in the 90s, there was no FaceTime.
Right.
I can't imagine being a professional overseas player back then. But
yeah, I guess I never even thought of that.
We have FaceTime. I can call my family, I can call my friends, my brother, my mother, and it makes it so much easier. So it's like, honestly, I told them and especially at the time, I didn't really think Estonia was that great of a city. Now I give it respect, but back then I was like, you guys don't want to come here. Let's just FaceTime. I'll be okay.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Just stay in Minnesota. It's a way better city. So, but yeah, no.
So, 2020 Serie A2.
Yep.
And this is like a fucking broken record. Defensive player.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And this and becoming defensive player of the year. So Serie A2, it's called A2 because there's a Serie A. Serie A, and this is Italy. After my year in Estonia, I was like, okay, I just completed my first year professionally.
Right.
I want to go somewhere way nicer than Estonia.
Yep.
I got an offer from Milan, Italy. I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. I'm going there. I'm not going to be in a cold place. I'm going to be in like a nice, fun, cool, warmer place. So I decided to sign to Urania Milano in Italy, in Milan, Italy. And this was the year when every year following this year would not be a regular year for me professionally. I actually had the only year, and this isn't just me, this is any professional basketball player you talk to will say this, 2020 was the last year that things was normal.
Right.
Because I just played the 2018-2019 season in Estonia. That was, and now we're talking 2019-2020, and you already know what's coming.
Yep.
So I signed to Milan, Italy. I play in the second division, whereas I was in the first division in Estonia, I was in the second division. So there's a better division with better teams in Italy, but I'm playing in one below because I wanted to be like more of a star, play a lot more.
Right.
Like actually like have fun, playing, because I was playing like lower minutes as a rookie in Estonia, but now I want to be like the star, have a lot of fun, be in a cool city. So
are you able to like in the NBA G League, are you able to get called up from A2?
Yes. Well, it's not called up. It's just you get an offer from a team and you ask your team management if they'll release you, and then the managers of both teams work out how to release you.
Okay.
But
so you still got to get released from that team in order to move up.
It's not like getting traded. It's like coming to agreement between the managers, the GMs of the teams, So I ended up going to Milan, Italy, which is which is the only city that my mother has visited me since. And
rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Come to Milan. Don't come to Estonia. Trust me, you'll like it way better. I had a great time. I had amazing teammates out there. We just like I said, like our team was really good because we all loved each other, and I had probably my best teammates I've had on this Milan team. By January, I had already been blocking everybody's shot. Like Milan had never seen so many blocks in their life. So I was already, on my way to winning the award for best defensive player. Kobe Bryant dies 3 weeks after 2020, and I don't know if you know this, but Kobe Bryant's dad played in Milan, not in Milan, in Italy. And Kobe grew up a little bit in Italy while his dad was playing professionally.
Oh, wow.
So being in Italy when Kobe Bryant died was really, really crazy and really, really special. I couldn't believe it happened because actually Kobe Bryant is, I don't know if this is going to be a question you're going to ask me later, but my favorite basketball player is Kobe Bryant. And I literally was so devastated that he died, and so was the entire country of Italy. And they had 3 weeks of basically like moments of silence before every game. It wasn't just like the first game after he died. It was like the next 6-7 games after he died. Like
so he was respected.
He was respected. He was loved because his dad played for a very prominently good team in Italy towards the later part of his career. So being in Italy in particular when Kobe Bryant died was really, really, I mean, it was sad because he passed away, but it was nice because it was like I was around an entire country of people who was on the same page as me, mourning. You know? So if we all felt connected and together. And right after like the last game when they mourned him, like there was one game where they were like didn't do the moment of silence anymore. Then we started to hear rumblings of this virus, as is the whole world. Yeah. But the interesting part of being in Italy when we're hearing about this is, I don't know if you remember, but there was an Italian cruise ship that had basically been the first outbreak away from Wuhan, China. Yep. So we're hearing about the virus in Wuhan, China, but then we're also hearing that there's an Italian cruise ship that's carried like the most concentrated amount of patients. Right. And that cruise ship had already docked to Italy. Yep. That and a lot of the people who had left lived in Milan. So it was about late to like early February when the virus had already infiltrated my city. I don't know if you remember when you started quarantining or when like COVID had come to town in Minnesota, but I basically started quarantining like February 10th.
Yeah, so we were beginning of March. Yep. When we started feeling it here.
My mother had just visited me in Milan like the week before she left, and 1 week later, COVID had come to town. I was in lockdown for 1 month. Italy's trying to figure out if they want to continue the season or not, see how bad the virus is going to be. Yeah. A week goes by. Trump's talking about travel bans. Another week goes by. The virus has rocked and already killed people all over Italy. And then the travel ban's a few days away. The team says, all right, the season's over. And they give the accolades out. And they said, Reggie, you're Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah.
So do you think you cheated?
So I didn't get any hardware for it, but I won it. Yeah. But now I didn't care about the award. It's like time to get out of here. Yeah. Because the travel ban's in 3 days. Yep. So I book a flight. It's crazy. I leave Milan. I fly back home. And by this time it's early March because it had already been like 1 month of me in quarantine. The whole Milan airport is taking temperatures, masks, yada, yada. I fly from Milan to New York City as my connecting flight and then back to Minnesota. I land in New York. There is no sign of COVID, anything. People are, touching each other's face, like, everything's all good. I'm just like,
You guys are about to get woken
I
up.
was like, oh my God, this is like, y'all don't know what's coming.
Right?
So I do the layover in New York. I get to Minnesota. I tell them all. And then I'm just like, all right. So they're all looking at me like I'm patient zero.
Right,
and I'm
right.
just like, Ma, I'm good. I've been in quarantine for the last month. Like everything's okay. And then it's basically St. Patty's Day weekend. That weekend, I'm like, okay, COVID's going to be coming to Minnesota, so I might as well hang out before we all get rocked.
Right.
So I participated in like the best St. Patrick's Day of my whole life. I went hard. I had some good drinks, and then 2 days of normalcy, and then we're on lockdown too.
Yeah.
So
how did that affect you? Like, not really to get too elaborate on the COVID stuff, but
Yeah.
how did that affect you playing? Obviously, you're not going to play, right?
Yeah.
So you fly back home. Are you practicing? Are you like, shit, is this going to be the end of my career? Is this, I mean, what are you looking at? What's going through your mind? Like, am I going to be able to go back overseas and play?
Yeah, I mean, similarly to probably everyone in the world, it's like no one knew how long COVID was going to last. A lot of people thought it was going to be a couple of weeks. A lot of people thought it was going to be a couple of months. It ended up being whatever 2 years it took out of all of us.
Yeah.
And so for me, all I know is, even though I really loved my time in Milan, I also wanted to be home. So it's like, I'll take any excuse for the season to end early for me to be home because I don't really get to be home. But at the same time, it's like, whenever COVID is over, I need to be in shape enough to go back overseas. Like, because I don't want to be like just on my couch,
Cheetos and pizza.
Yeah. Cheetos and pizza. So I ended up doing what a lot of people did. I got me a treadmill, and I'm living at my mom's house in Edina. I didn't have a place yet because
didn't make sense.
Yeah, since I went from college to Estonia, and then I'm only home for 3 months, and then I got to go back overseas. It's like I might as well just live with my mom, and just keep making money and just live here.
Yep.
So first year, Illinois State or Estonia to Milan, lived with my mother, and then Milan and COVID summer, I'm still living with my mom in Edina. So I got my mom a treadmill. And my brother also was living in the house at the same time. So it's me and my mom, my brother, and my dog living in a house in the house in Edina. I'm waking up as early as I can and trying to do like an in-home COVID workout. Yeah, noon. Trying to do an in-home COVID workout. I'll like do some push-ups. I bought some dumbbells, doing some dumbbells, and then I'll hop on the treadmill. And then luckily we had a basketball hoop in the driveway, so I'm getting up some shots. So I tried to do that as long as I could. For 2 months, that was basically my routine from like March, April, May. And then something happened that we all remember that shook up the whole world. And that was George Floyd dying a few blocks away from, not a few blocks, a few miles away from where I live.
Yeah.
So when George Floyd died, all me and my Minnesota Hoopers that were playing overseas, we're all in a group chat because we're all like saying like, hey, once this quarantine's over, we all got to play basketball against each other so that we can stay in shape for going back overseas. That group chat went from a basketball chat to a protest chat. We all said, hey, we got to leave this quarantine and we got to protest this because this is crazy. And I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm like, this quarantine's over. This can't be standard for. The George Floyd thing was just absolutely insane. And ultimately, it's what got us all out of the house. Me and all the Hoopers I knew, we participated in the Royce White-led marches that you guys probably saw back in the day. The one that we're on the 35W bridge and the guy in the truck drives through it. Like, I was on that. I was one of the thousands of people that were on that. And it was after those protests when I said to myself, all right, I can't do, especially that one when the truck drove through us. I was like, all right, maybe I won't be doing that too many more protests, but I also am not going back to quarantine because I just protested with 5,000 people.
Right.
So I think I might be okay to go to a bar or two. I just protested with 5,000 people. I go out to a bar for I go out to the bars, I go out on the boats. You like to boat in your summer times, I'm sure. I went on a lot of boating. I went to a decent amount of bars, and I'm still waiting for basically the season to start. And it's July 11th. I'm at Gray's Bar in the North Loop, and I meet a girl who's got a cowboy hat on and cowboy overalls on. And she was her brother was dating a girl that I knew, and that's how I met her. And I asked her if she wanted to come boating the next day. She said yes, and she ended up becoming my wife. And
That's amazing.
And so shout out to the fact that we both had the courage to leave quarantine and meet in the bars, because if we were in quarantine, we would have never met.
Right.
But I met her. Her name is Lauren. She's my wife to this day. We've been married 1.5 years. We just had our first kid born 9 days ago. So we met at Gray's Bar.
That is awesome.
That's all because we had the courage to leave the quarantines
Yeah,
during 2020
congrats,
summer.
man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That's something that obviously is, like you said, would have never happened if you didn't get the courage to leave. And
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes things happen for a reason.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And you were back here when you would have probably been overseas playing.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You know, so those things are super cool to. It's I shouldn't say it's super cool. It's a how do you say, it's a bad way to have it happen, but it's also precious because it's brought so much to you and to your life.
100%.
And you know, when that happens, things in your life change.
Yeah.
So you won the Polish Super Cup.
Yeah.
You also were the MVP in 2024 of it.
Yeah.
You come back here, you're with your wife.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have a baby.
Yeah.
What is something that is going through your mind, even sitting here today, going, where do I go from here?
Yeah. No.
What direction do I go?
Yeah. No. And I'm happy you propelled us forward to right now, because I could obviously spend another hour talking about each season in between. Yeah. But I just want to summarize the seasons leading up to right where we are now. I mean, meeting Lauren that summer, like, she knew who I was, and we gelled and we were inseparable. And until I got the offer from a team in Russia. I had an offer from a team in Russia, and I told her, like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but like, if we're dating, like, it basically has to be long distance for, like, 3/4 of the year, unfortunately, unless you're coming overseas with me, or unless I retire. Right. And ultimately, Lauren was like such an amazing sport about it, and like, we built our relationship off of the foundation of, like, the idea that we're apart for most of it, and that FaceTime was going to be like 3/4 of our communication while I'm healthy even playing. And I went to Russia, I signed and went out to Russia, played there for a year. And Lauren ended up visiting me during the week of Valentine's Day in February. So we were apart for 6 months until Valentine's Day. Wow. And it was on that visit when I asked her, I was like, how does it feel being here in Russia? I mean, this is kind of crazy that you came to Russia. And she's like, this is my first time ever leaving the United States. And when I heard that, I was like, this is the one. Right. Because
she literally did that for you. Well, not just you, but for you guys.
Yeah, no, for us together. I mean, she left, like, she had been to Canada, she'd been to Mexico, she had never been to Europe. And the first place she leaves North America is Russia for me. Right. I was like, this is the one. Yeah. So we get a home, we get an apartment together that summer. I signed to Greece. I play in Italy. I play in Germany. I tear my Achilles in Germany. I have 9 months to sit out. During this 9 months that I sit out, me and her get a home together in the North Loop, which is 2 blocks away from where we met, which is just so nice to be able to be close to right next to where we met. When I come back from come back from recovering from my Achilles injury, I play in Lithuania. I do really well there. I come back home, and we have already had our home for a year. We get married in the city, 4 blocks away from where we met. Go play in Israel. Come back from Israel. Now it's the 2024 summer, this past summer, and I go play in Poland, and I'm MVP of the league. Me and Lauren have already done 4.5 years of the long distance. Right. During all of these years of ever since I signed to Russia and I met her the summer before, it had been, a visit or 2 each year, FaceTimes every day, and then I'm home for 3 months in the summer. Yep. Besides the year when I tore my Achilles when I was home for 9 months during that recovery. So basically, everything we've done leading up to today is like we've gone through a lot of shit. It's like we got our place, we got married. She visits me 2-3 times a year. We're long distance for the most part, and now we got our kid born. It's like I feel like we've been through it all. Yeah, and like being in Milan during COVID, coming to Russia, and then like Russia invades Ukraine a few months later, and like being in Russia for that year. being in Israel last year during October 7th. It's like I've been through a lot of stuff. She's been through it all with me.
Right.
And now we have a kid together. And the one thing that I can say about the fact that, I mean, I'm only here now because I had a knee injury out there playing in Poland after winning the MVP of the Super Cup in October. If it wasn't for that injury, I wouldn't be here right now, and I wouldn't have been able to have the last 3-4 months of like being with Lauren for the time of her pregnancy and obviously the birth.
Well, so, being a husband and then being a dad.
Being a husband and then becoming a dad. Like, these are all the precious moments that you don't get when you're a professional basketball player overseas.
Right.
Now that my son is here, I don't know how many more years I'm going to be playing professionally.
Right.
But what I say to Lauren every day is like, all will be, my favorite phrase is, all will be good. Everything will be good. We're going to figure it out. And so far, we've been together 4.5, almost 5 years. And that's exactly what we've done. And we couldn't be happier right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you plan on playing once you're healed? Is there talks about you stepping back on the court, or is that still all up in the air?
Yeah. I mean, it's all up in the air because now my kid is born. I don't even know if I want to sign this year. I can sign this year. I have offers to play even right now, even though I'm not fully healed yet.
Correct.
I have offers to play right now. I don't want to sign to play anywhere while I'm still recovering, but I am close to being done with my recovery. But for me, the one thing is I know that I want to become a coach. I didn't know that what I wanted to do after I retired from playing until about 2 years ago. 2 years ago is when I realized that I love basketball so much. I just want to be involved in basketball my whole life. And so I just said to myself, I'm going to become a coach. But how and where will I become a coach? I still don't know.
Yep.
The one thing about the luxury of playing professional basketball player, or being a professional basketball player, is that it gives you time to figure it out.
Right.
Because I know I can play basketball for another year, another 2, another 3, another 4, however many years I need to figure out my post-career plan. That's how many years I'll take to keep playing.
Absolutely.
So once I get that full vision of where I like to play or where I'd like to coach, that's when I'll know. And my body's been through enough. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of being away from home, tired of being away from my kid and my wife. And I'm tired of my body hurting all the time. That's when I'll say, you know what? I know what I'm going to be. So I'm retiring.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be, I mean, like you said, though, then you're still going to be around the game. You're still going to, who knows? You might be a head coach for Edina.
I would love
Would that be the shits?
Yeah. No,
that'd be pretty cool.
And in my opinion, the Gophers could use me right now.
Yeah.
Because they need a little help.
I was going to ask you, like, what your thoughts on the Gophers now that you're not playing? What's your thoughts on the team this year? And, obviously they struggled. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and nobody is, but there's a lot of areas that need to be touched up. And coming from a player that played there, knows the head coach personally, still to this day.
Yep.
What's something that you could tell, like, it's just a couple of things that need to change, and everything's on roll?
I mean, ultimately, every coach has got their style. And since I've literally played for Lithuanians, I've played for Russians, I've played for Italian, Serbian, I've played for Polish coaches, I've played for all types of coaches. They all have their own style. Yeah. Each league's got their own physicality level. Like in Italy, there's tons of African Italians, so that league is super athletic, as you could imagine.
Right.
There's just Africans that are flying through the air and they're super fast, and you got to like watch for lobs all the time.
Right.
But you play in Greece or like Russia, it's like there's less athletic and more physical.
Yep.
So it's just like every team and every coach has got their own style, and like I've been around so many different styles and different coaches that I picked up on the things that I think work, and I think I've picked up on the things that don't work.
Right.
One thing that I would say that the Gophers need now is a real defensive identity, as well as just like slowing down offensively. Because I think that when I watch the games, like I see the talent's there, like, but we had talent too when I played, and we didn't. But what we did is we had an identity. Like the identity was, like, guards get over screens and fight over, and if they can't get over, Reggie's there to block the shot.
Right.
Sometimes I watch the games and I don't know what is happening.
Right. Because you're looking at it a different lens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Between all the other fans.
Like, I'm not seeing what the what is the game plan.
Right.
But ultimately, like, I'm sure there's multiple factors why I could not be seeing it, but in my opinion, there's no reason I shouldn't be seeing it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, coming as a player, I think you are going to pick up on those things a lot more than myself and other fans that are sitting around bitching and complaining that they're losing.
Yeah.
You're going, well, no, we need to fix this. We need to do this. They need to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm still not seeing why they're doing it this way, which is fair. I mean, you're a player, right? So you're going to dissect the shit out of it more than us.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So you plan on playing, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm going to try and play as many years as I can. I already told you about my rotator cuff, but I also had knee surgery in October, but this is actually my third. I had 2 knee surgeries when I was at the Gophers on the same meniscus. Wow. I also had an Achilles that I mentioned when I played in Germany. I tore that. Broke my foot back when I played in Germany. 2 nose surgeries and 2 sinus surgeries. So we're at number 10.
Wow.
Number 10 basketball related surgeries.
And they say basketball isn't physical.
They say it, but they need to quit it, because I'm not in my experience. I've been going crazy.
Well, you're a center and you're in the paint. You're getting beat up. You're beating up. I mean, it is a very physical sport.
Absolutely.
And I see that just sitting, at the games. I see it.
Yeah.
So I want to end this. What are a couple pro tips for the kids that are watching, the kids that will see this? What's a couple things that you could say, you know what? This is what you guys should do. Focus on your identity. Focus on are you a defensive player? Are you a shooter? Mm-hmm. Listen to your coaches. What are a couple tips that you could give to these kids that are paying attention to this?
Mm-hmm. Well, just before I answer that question, I wanted to sprinkle this in while I was talking about my overseas career, but I'm going to give you a tip for the kids, but I'm also going to give you a tip for the pros.
Absolutely.
And this isn't about basketball. This is about sanity overseas. My first year in Estonia was the longest year of my career. That was 10 months. That was 10 months of thinking that I had made the wrong decision. 10 months of like, where's my family? Where I want to get back home. All that. I picked up on 3 things that I only learned when I became a pro. Before I was professional, I was, hanging out, going boating, hanging out with my friends at bars and yada yada. But when you're done with those practices overseas, you want to fill your time and like have something to take your mind off of basketball, because basketball can get depressing when it is your life and you're getting yelled at by Serbians and Lithuanian coaches who are like killing you every day.
Yeah.
I started YouTube vlogging. I have 50 vlogs. You can check it out on YouTube. Reggie Lynch Vlogs is my YouTube channel. I have videos from Israel if you guys want to see Jerusalem and the Dead Sea and Jaffa. I got videos from Russia if you guys want to check out what Russia's like. I got videos from Estonia my rookie year. I started this my rookie year, by the way. So I have video from every team and every city I've played in.
Oh, that's cool.
Videos from Greece and Italy and Germany, and videos from Poland this year. And I went to the Holocaust Museum. I went to Auschwitz 3-4 months ago, and my wife visited me. And so I've been vlogging. And so this is something that's helped take my mind off of the stresses of overseas. Yeah. I also started a clothing company. I'm wearing it right now called Block Nation. This is a clothing company that I started while I was playing in Lithuania, because I've always been a great shot blocker, and I always wanted wanted there to be a clothing that associated with the defensive aspects. Because like when you look at Nike shirts, you see just shoot it, or 3s are better than 2s, or like offensive related stuff. It's like, this is like a defensive related shirt only. Like,
it's a brand that you've built personally just by your bio.
Exactly. Yep. I came up with the name, the logo, and basically I'm starting to create shirts that are blocking things, not just the basketball. I replaced the basketball with, hate. So I got to block the hate shirt, which is like, this is hate instead. So you're blocking hate.
So is that you? And then that's Tyus Jones?
Yeah, exactly. This is little Tyus Jones with the short arms, and that's me with the long arms. So you got to block it, man.
I love it.
So I got all these shirt ideas for, like, I'm going to make a block cancer shirt, because, my wife's father just got diagnosed with cancer a year ago. And so now cancer is a thing I want to be involved in, awareness for that. So I want to make a block cancer shirt and put something related to cancer here, so you're blocking that,
like the ribbon or something.
Yeah, the ribbon, exactly. Yeah. So that's a thing that also helps occupy my mind. So I'm doing the vlogs, I'm doing the t-shirts, and now I'm just trying to, come up with more. Oh, and another thing is I didn't know how to cook shit before I was a professional basketball player. Now I like to cook. Like I fill my time with learning new dishes. So now when I'm overseas, I'm on the computer working on designs for the shirt. I'm editing vlogs and I'm learning new dishes to create. So like ever since I've been a professional, I've just become a better, well-rounded, creative person who's like keeps busy.
Yeah.
And it's helped my mental while I'm overseas. So that's one thing I just want to tell anyone who may or may not be entering the world of professional basketball or just like getting stressed with basketball at any age. It's just like keeping busy, having a hobby. Cause like they all say ball is life and like, you know, love, like kissing the basketball is like, like you live and breathe basketball, but ultimately it's like, hey, you need to take a break from basketball in order to, you know, you got to take a break.
What was the name of your vlog again?
Reggie Lynch Vlogs on YouTube.
Awesome.
You look that up.
Everybody go subscribe and like that shit right now.
Yep. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And check out on my Instagram bio. I got a link tree that's connected to my Shopify storefront if you guys want to get a shirt.
Yes.
But what you were asking about tips for the kids?
Yeah.
Remember the one thing I told you I was amazing at when I was young that kept me from getting cut? I was always a great shot blocker. Even though I was not very coordinated, I was not very good offensively, I was always a great shot blocker. I think that every basketball player needs to be the best at something.
Yeah.
No matter what age you are.
Right.
If you are 10 years old and you're bad at everything, then you're bad.
Yeah.
If you're 10 years old and you're bad at everything, but you're really good at stealing the ball, then you're a good basketball player. You're just not good at some things.
Right. Yeah.
It's like,
but you're not going to be good at everything. Not everybody's good. There's a spot for you if you're good at steals.
Yeah.
There's a spot for you if you're good at blocks.
For you because every team needs a role player. And it's like, ultimately, I wasn't good at a whole lot of things, but I was always great at blocking shots. And that was enough to keep me on a team. And it's still enough to get me signed to play and make money as a basketball player now.
Absolutely.
So that's what I would say is make sure you're the best at something.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
Man, it's been awesome to have you.
Yeah.
Seriously, we could talk for hours. I love
could.
it. I mean, we could talk for days.
Yeah, absolutely.
I truly appreciate you swinging through, stopping by on your busy schedule that you have. I wish you, the wife, the newborn, nothing but the best.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to definitely stay in touch.
100%.
I might have to put him through a workout, so you guys might have to see that sometime.
Let's see what you got, man.
Yeah, but I truly appreciate you swinging by and spending some time with me and helping me build my brand as well.
Yeah.
For everybody that is asking questions, make sure you guys check out Block Nation. It is a link on his bio as well on Instagram. We will put that down below and on the video as well. Support something that's real and support a brand that from a very cool individual, in my opinion.
I appreciate it.
But hey guys, it's the end of the podcast. Make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe. Also subscribe to him as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
SRT.